Tonight, we're going to be discussing Trump's cabinet picks. Is he talking about reparations for white people? Legacy media is absolutely dead. And what is up with all these teachers and these rants that they going on because Trump won the election? We're going to discuss all this and more tonight on It's Culture. Let's get it. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark. This is It's Culture Podcast. Doing something different tonight. I'm starting a whole new way of doing this podcast show. So hopefully you all will enjoy this. As always, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. We're over 5,000 subscribers. And, I am very appreciative of everybody who has subscribed to the channel up to this point. So let's keep going. Let's keep growing this channel. Let's keep communicating with each other. I appreciate the comments and the support. I really do. Let's keep growing this community out. So share this out with your friends. Hit that like button. It doesn't require anything. All I want is just the support. So thank you so much. So let's get into it. I believe the legacy media is dead. Yeah, I said it. I believe that they are dead. And the reason why I believe that is because if you all haven't noticed, there has been a buzz amongst the legacy media organizations that people are not watching them no more. MSNBC and CNN are both reporting that their ratings have plummeted by over 700,000 views. People not tuning into that. The reason why? Because of YouTube channels and podcasts. That is the way people are getting their media. So much so that former Fox News host and CNN anchor Chris Wallace just announced that he was going to leave CNN to explore opportunities in other media podcasting platforms like podcasting, right? He's had nothing but positive things about it, and he, and that's what he wants to do. But CNN is also looking at major layoffs. And they expect that it's going to be like massive, like from production staff and both and also on-air talent. They got some people that are making a lot of money over there. Like Anderson Cooper makes like $20 million. And then like Jake Tapper and, Wolf Blitzer and Aaron Burnett. They're making millions over there. Caitlin Collins, all these people. So they are looking at cutting the staff. I mean, they're losing money. Why are we going to be paying you $20 million when your ratings suck? And Anderson Cooper is on in the 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock hour. He used to be on at about the 7 o'clock hour. Well, how it went, Anderson would come on like 8 o'clock. Then Chris Cuomo would come on at 9, and then Don Lemon would have the 10 o'clock hour. And that seemed to work until Chris Cuomo got fired, and then Don Lemon ultimately got terminated. And they started doing some reorganization and reshifting around, trying to change the dynamics, the everything. They had Anderson Cooper coming on. They've tried Laura Coates out. She didn't really get any positive reviews. And then now they have Abby Phillips in there. And her show is an absolute train wreck. The panelists don't respect each other. It's just a bunch of bickering and fighting. And she tries her best. I'm not faulting Abby because Abby used to have a show that came on the weekends, and I used to tune into it. I really like Abby Phillips. I think that she tries her best. She's young in her career, and she's trying her best to try to, be that stalwart for the CNN, but this show that she has coming on at 10 o'clock at night is an absolute disaster. And because it's all about opinions and people come on there and they're being disrespectful to each other, condescending, there's all kind of stuff going on. There's going to be some major shifts going on with CNN. I also believe that MSNBC is going to get the same thing. The ratings are horrible right now. Like I said, they've done the same thing. Mix and match, move people around. Tiffany Cross had a show. It was called A Cross Connection. It got axed. Joy Reid, she kind of moved around a little bit with her show. Rachel Maddow is still holding it down. Brian Williams and all these other people have left the network, and they've been trying to fill it for these years, and people are not paying attention to that. They're not paying attention to this left wing, far left ideology no more. The country is pretty much the center, and a lot of the people that come on these shows, they're supposed to be experts and all this stuff. They're just pundits, man. They're just giving their opinion. There is a bunch of fear mongering going on, and the American electorate is pretty much done with that. So more to come on the CNN firing. Like I said, I believe by the first of the year, it's going to be totally revamped. And they probably going to be trying to figure out a way to go to more podcasts and streaming type coverage, or they could just do the right thing and just report the news and stop trying to slant it so they can try to get a reaction, get the ratings up, because people are tired of that. So we'll see what goes on with that. Now, there's also been a bunch of, I guess, chaos, if you want to call it that. I don't know if you can call it chaos. I don't even know what to call it, but I don't think it's even genuine. It's a lot of outrage in regards to who Trump is picking for his cabinet. Now, it's funny because I've never seen people, especially on the left, I've never seen them pay attention to who is filling what positions, but they are every single person that they have shown and they're picking, they're trying to denigrate and downplay the person and trying to make it seem like he's running a circus and it's just his loyalists, people who Trump is happy around, and people who gonna speak, very good of him. I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to do? I mean, like, who hires somebody that is in complete opposition to themselves? Like, nobody does that. Nobody in business would ever hire anybody who didn't like them just for the sake of it. So it's very funny that I see people on the left that are doing that right now, because it's like a draft right now. It's like the NFL draft with the next pick, in the 2025 Trump cabinet, we select such and such from this state. And like, what? No, boo. That's exactly what it's like. The NFL draft. So we're going to take a look at some of these picks, right? I want y'all to see some of these people that Trump has picked. All right. So we have Susie Wiles, chief of staff. Susie Wiles was actually Trump's campaign manager. So been very, very loyal to him, helped him rebrand, in a sense, how he did his campaign this time. So chief of staff. And what's absolutely crazy about this is that Susie Wiles is actually the very first woman ever to be nominated or picked to be the White House chief of staff in history. So she's the first. Next, we have Rep. Elise Stefanik, who's going to be the UN ambassador. She's another Trump loyalist. People got their issues with Elise Stefanik, some of her views and on some things with the Palestine and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. Tom Homan is going to be the border czar. He's going to be in charge of the border, getting the border straight. He is a bulldog when it comes to this border. He thinks it needs to be shut completely down. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they implement policies on the border crisis. Stephen Miller comes back as a deputy chief of policy. I'm kind of curious about this one, mainly because Stephen Miller actually participated in drafting and writing the Project 2025. So I'm kind of curious as to see what he does with policy, if he's actually going to try to push what the Heritage Foundation drafted. That's going to be curious, because I didn't think Stephen Miller would be back in the administration, but here he is. I wouldn't have picked him. I think he's horrible. I think he should have just kept everybody that was not in his cabinet the last time, kept them away from the White House. This is one of the people I kind of scratched my head about. Former Rep. Lee Zeldin is going to be the EPA administrator. I don't really know too much about Lee Zeldin. I'm going to look at him I'm going to do some more research as far as how he feels about his policies in regards to environmental protection, especially because we have so many cancer alleys in the South. And I know of an active lawsuit that is going on in my hometown of Augusta, Georgia, with Hyde Park and Aragon Park. If y'all have never heard of that, I would highly advise you all to just Google Hyde Park, Augusta, Georgia, and take a look at what has happened over the years there. It was a lot of neglect. It was racially motivated because it was a red line community, and the people got poisoned. And I think that might be the main reason why a lot of people from my community, while a lot of our parents have passed away from cancers, and all our parents were young, because we think that they may have been poisoned with the chemicals from thermoceramics chemical plant and a few other places over there that had a lot of lead and mercury and keratote. So I'm going to be paying attention to what Rep. Lee Zeldin do. We got Senator Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. I don't know about this. I know that he's a big supporter of Israel, so I don't know how the Palestinians are going to feel about this. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And then it's also, because he comes from Florida, what Governor DeSantis is going to do with Marco Rubio's Senate seat. So interesting to see that. Kristi Noem is going to be the Secretary of Homeland Security. If you don't know who she is, Governor Kristi Noem is the governor of South Dakota. So she's going to be in charge of Homeland Security. Don't really understand this, considering that she doesn't come from a border state. But hey, I guess we'll see how this one goes. Pete Hegseth is going to be Secretary of Defense. Now, this pick here is the one so far that got a lot of people up in arms. So much so that Whoopi Goldberg said that this guy didn't know anything about the military on The View today. The View is still crashing out, as they've been doing since the election happened. But she said that Pete doesn't know anything about the military. Well, maybe Whoopi Goldberg should have done her research before she said this, because Pete Hegseth is a 20-year military veteran. He has 2 Bronze Stars. Educationally wise, he's an Ivy Leaguer, Harvard and Princeton, and he's done tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I think he knows something about the military. But in his last job, he's been on Fox News, so they just discard the military service. They discard all of that and just focus on him being a Fox News host. I don't know, how this is going to work out. He's still going to have to get through the confirmation process. I think he's going to get real drilled by. I know Susan Collins has already come out and said something about this pick. So she's not in support of it. So we'll see. But right now the Republicans control the Senate, so all these people still have to be, confirmed by the Senate before they take their role. So we'll see how all these appointments go. All right. And then Representative Mike Waltz is going to be the National Security Advisor. You got former Governor Mike Huckabee is going to be the ambassador to Israel. Stephen Witkoff is going to be a special envoy to the Middle East. John Ratcliffe is going to be the CIA director. This one here is interesting because a lot of people thought it was going to be Kash Patel, but it ended up being John Ratcliffe. William McGinley is going to be White House counsel. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to co-chair a new department called the Department of Government Efficiency, where they're going to be basically going through trying to find waste and fraud in the government. Interesting to see. There's a lot of government agencies that really don't do nothing, and Washington D.C. is a cesspool for bureaucracy. I am all for shrinking the government because that puts more money back in our pockets. Because every time we open up a new agency, every time there's a new government agency, guess who's paying for that? The government don't make no money; they only take it. So every time there's more government jobs and all this stuff happening, that money is coming from taxpayers. So we're paying these people's salaries. And a lot of this stuff is a lot of bureaucracy. And a lot of it is what stops a lot of us from being able to achieve the American dream, because we got all these agencies and, loopholes and all this stuff that needs to be closed up. So I guess we'll just see. It's going to be musical chairs. Also, not pictured on that thing, Tulsi Gabbard is the director of national intelligence now. So that's very, very interesting. Tulsi Gabbard has claimed that the Democrats put her on the terror watch list. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see a former Democrat who became a Trump supporter, former congresswoman who now is in charge of national intelligence. I really thought that she was either going to be, jockeying for the Secretary of State or either the defense secretary because of her military background as well. But I guess we'll see how this goes. Those are the picks for Trump. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Y'all just let me know. It's always funny when you see things online and people get outraged, right? I have been seeing multiple people. It's like they get accused. It's always funny when they go on X and they all start regurgitating the same talking points. It seems like somebody has sent something to them like a memo. Hey, I need you to say it like this. Well, there's a growing consensus amongst, I guess, black Democrats that Donald Trump is about to give white people reparations. I'm going to repeat. There is a growing consensus online that Donald Trump is going to pay white people reparations. He's been putting a lot of stuff out on his Truth Social, and he's been making these videos where he's announcing certain things that he's going to do when he takes office. He's been doing this for a couple of months now, but lately, since the election, he's been doing it like almost every day. He's been announcing different stuff. So either he's putting it out via email, he's putting it out on Truth, or you get like the official letterhead with Trump Vance on it and he puts out whatever he's going to say, or he's doing it on True Social via video format. So this is the video I want to show you all. And we're going to talk about this on the other side because I just want to see what it is that people are saying. I haven't really watched this. I don't be paying attention to stuff like this, but I had to this time because people have been saying it. So we're going to check it out. Let's see.
Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit, unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly. Colleges have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from hardworking taxpayers, and now we are going to get this anti-American insanity out of our institutions once and for all. We are going to have real education in America. Thank you.
So these universities have been teaching wokeism, as they call it, all these diversity programs and stuff like that. It's gotten too far. I would tell you this, and this is why I kind of despise lumping different struggles together, because the issues that black people have suffered in this country are different than any other minority group, and they're different than things that happen with the LGBTQ movement. A lot of these policies that they're talking about has nothing to do with race, to be honest. A lot of this has to do with the LGBTQ movement, particularly when it comes to like indoctrination. Like a lot of parents don't want their kids learning about this stuff in school. We've seen like the drag brunches with kids are there at these brunches. There's a big push for transgenderism in sports and like all these things. And a lot of people are not down with that. In Florida, DeSantis had a woke act where they stopped being woke. And people came out and said, he wanted to get rid of African-American study classes and all this stuff. Well, the class wasn't really focused on, it was focused on black history, but this course mainly, its whole premise was to introduce LGBTQ people who made an impact during the civil rights generation. And he was like, we're not teaching that. I don't have a problem with teaching African American history. We've been doing this for years. Why is this new curriculum out? So he threw the curriculum out, and people had to up in arms. So he's coming after DE&I. Sometimes you gotta go do your own research, right? If you listen to sound bites and clicks, you will be misinformed and miseducated a lot. That's where the disinformation starts, by listening to people without doing your research. Usually on my channel, I try to provide you all with the content from the people. So you get it from the news, the sources where it's coming from. Then I give my opinion on it. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that what I say is law. All right. I bring you all to the actual topics themselves, and I let you listen to what the people are saying, so you can get it. You can get an idea, and you can come up with your own judgment based on what you hear. Right. Not based on what is said, but based on what you hear with your ears. Not what I say through this microphone. So it's very important, right? I did not hear him say anything about race and white people getting restitution or reparations. What I heard was, we are going to have the government, the DOJ, investigate schools who are discriminated against kids based on, whatever it is, this terminology, this stuff is. Inequity, because they want to keep saying it's about DE&I and equity, but it's all about inclusiveness. It really has nothing to do with diversity. Really, it's really about inclusiveness. It's really about ushering in and have people be able to say whatever pronoun and don't get offended. And that's what he's talking about. He's talking about violations of people's First Amendment rights. If I don't agree with your stance and I have my own opinion, you want to cancel me because you say I have a phobia. Or you want to get me suspended from school because you say that I don't support it. A lot of this has a lot to do with what's going on in Israel and Palestine. So, in my opinion now, this is my opinion, this is like a nothing burger. And if you were discriminated against on campus and you are a black student or a Latino student, you were discriminated against, guess what? You should be able to file a claim. Because the Civil Rights Act, it protects everybody, right? So we'll see how this goes. I'm curious to see if anybody's going to step up and file a lawsuit. I mean, we've seen some things get challenged in court. We've seen affirmative action get challenging, and then that got disbanded. We've seen, certain protections get thrown back. A lot of this stuff, the Civil Rights Act in 1964 really became something that weaponized the country. It's really what divides the country, to be honest. If you go look at the Civil Rights Act and you look at the things in it that it's supposed to protect against, those are the main things that divide the country. There has been a lot of meltdowns because Trump got elected. I don't know why. I really don't. It's just 4 years. But there has been a big meltdown. What I'm seeing from teachers across this country, educators, I don't like it. I don't like ideology being taught to students. Can't stand it because you're shaping minds and you're going against parents' will. California actually got a law that says that a student can identify however they want to identify. And if they want to go get a gender affirming surgery, they can get it without their parents' permission. And if the parents try to intervene, they can be jailed. Don't believe me? Go Google it. There are states around here that are trying to take the rights of parents away from being able to parent their children. I don't like it. I don't like when people push this stuff on kids because kids' minds are not developed. So you got teachers in colleges who last week after the election decided that they were going to cancel classes, not just cancel classes because they were so distraught by the election. These people have mental illnesses. And they're teaching our students. You have an emotional breakdown because of a freaking election for somebody that none of us know in person? Really? The American people spoke. Why are you up in arms and mad at people because they didn't vote the way you wanted them to? This is what elections are for. Your candidate lost. Your candidate was flawed from the get-go. You all tried to subvert democracy. It backfired, and you lost big time. And now you're up in arms, crying, flailing, doing all this stuff, all this crazy stuff going on. And now we got teachers around the country that are in classes having complete meltdowns. I actually called her because I wanted to make sure that she was in class, because I was like, the hell with this. I would be raising hell if that was her teacher, because we're paying for her to be down there. Ain't no handouts here. We're paying her tuition to go to school down there. And it's not cheap going to Ohio University. So I would be damned if my daughter is going to have a teacher that is going to cancel classes simply because of a freaking election. When I'm paying my dollars, you got to get that day back. I got to get retroactively that day back off the books. Because that is some nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. And it's happening in high schools. And I'm going to share something with you all from Los Angeles. This comes via KTLA out in Los Angeles. And this is what's going on out in California. Take a listen. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Sure, Micah, and tonight we're actually talking about two incidents, one here in Moreno Valley, another at the Chino Valley High School. Now, critics believe that these teachers went way too far and had no place in lecturing their students about their political beliefs, not to mention the way in which they did it. Some are even calling for them to be fired. But on the other hand, there are supporters who say, yes, maybe it was wrong, it should have been toned down, but it's not enough to fire them.
So y'all, you see what's going on. We got two teachers who have said some things to some students in regards to the election, and the parents are up in arms, but then there's people out there that said they may have went a little too far, but we don't want them fired. Let's take a listen to what they said. Let's take a listen.
A rapist, draft-dodging coward, treasonous scum. Why would he win? Why would he win? Why did he win?
A teacher's post-election Trump rant going viral. This audio recording is from a teacher at Valley View High School in Moreno Valley.
But has Donald Trump quoted Hitler? Yes. Does he embody some of Hitler's ideas? Yes.
See what I'm saying? Listen to what he's doing. This is indoctrination. This is indoctrination. You ask a question, then you give the answer. Yes, he did these things. Listen.
The recording now with millions of listens.
Let me tell you, I know a lot of Latino men on this campus, adults and students, that love Donald Trump. And he's called their mothers rapists. He's called their fathers rapists. He's called them criminals. He called them the poison in the blood of our country.
So the parents who voted for Trump called them this. That's what this teacher is telling these students. He called your parents rapists. He called them scum. And they still went out there and voted for him. Why? He's basically causing conflict inside the household, so these kids can come on and be like, Mom, why you voted for Trump? He called you scum. Indoctrination, people. This cannot be taking place in our school system. This cannot be taking place.
He could have definitely worded it a different way. He could have made it like family friendly, like no swear words. He could have got his point across.
Jude Vasquez has the teacher's second period class. He and several students walked out of school today. Bring him back! Bring him back! In protest, calling on the Moreno Valley Unified School District to bring the AP World History teacher back.
AP World History. And you got kids out here leaving class. Now, if this was my kid, I would be livid. Why are you walking out? This dude has said some of the most foul charged stuff, and you sitting up here wanting him back in class? No. AP World History? Hell no. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
After he was placed on administrative leave.
They tried silencing us, but they will not silence us today. Yeah!
In a statement, the
Please. This is not our fight. Not one time did that teacher say anything about he called black parents anything. Why are there black students out there fighting this fight? This don't make any sense.
district told KTLA in part, we were recently made aware of an incident at one of our high schools in which a staff member's discussion about the election results turned unprofessional. We do not condone the behavior that occurred, and an immediate investigation has been launched.
We have a lot of teachers here who say racist stuff and openly support Trump, and nothing happens to them.
Many students
They say racist stuff. We got a lot of teachers that say racist stuff, and they openly support Trump. So I wish somebody would have asked them, what's the examples? If this is happening, why have we never heard anything about Moreno Valley unified schools in regards to teachers saying racist rhetoric before. We've never heard this before. Never heard it. But this student right now is saying that they racist and that they support Trump. What does that got to do with you learning because somebody supports Trump? See, this is indoctrination of kids, right? This is why we can't have this, because they already indoctrinated. They already indoctrinated. This is our kids being indoctrinated by teachers instead of being taught what's really going on.
Students believe this teacher is being singled out and that disciplining of teachers should be fair.
I feel as though he should come back to the school.
At Chino Valley High School, another teacher was recorded saying people voted for a rapist before disciplining a student for wearing a Trump hat.
Turn it off and tell her to go back to your freaking seat now. Go. Take the. Can you send security up? Please, room B205. I have a boy who has a Trump hat on, and I'm not going to tolerate it today. Bye-bye. I don't care if you have a Harris hat or Trump hat. You're out of here.
A Chino Valley Unified spokesperson couldn't say whether that teacher has been placed on leave, but they are investigating.
What are we doing here? It's too much emotion going on. These teachers are too emotional. It's just too many people. What has happened to America? Right? Have we gone so far that everything is offensive to people now? Okay, so maybe the kid was antagonizing the teacher, but you had to curse at him. You had to call security because he had a Trump hat on. Where's the principal at? This is crazy. Yelling, cursing at students, unacceptable. Unacceptable. That's not your kid. That child is there for an hour with you. That is not your child. This type of stuff can no longer happen in our education system, and that goes back to what Trump said in his diatribe about schools. That needs to be trickled down to the school boards. And that's another thing. Trump is thinking about abolishing the Department of Education. Got a lot of people up in arms about it. But if this is the stuff that the Department of Education is overseeing and they're allowing this crap to go on, they need to go away. Because this is absolutely filth. No teacher should be talking to a student like that. And actually, no teacher should be trying to indoctrinate your kids into their way of thinking. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be teaching history, not giving your freaking opinion, especially not in world history. That's my show for tonight. Thank you all so much. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about everything that I discussed tonight. I'm curious to see how you all feel about CNN crashing and burning. I'm curious to see what y'all think about these cabinet picks that Trump has had. What did y'all hear when y'all heard the video? Did y'all hear anything about reparations for white people? And what do y'all think about these teachers who are crashing out and getting suspended for their hatred for Donald Trump? So y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Culture Nation, until next time, let's keep it culture.